All right, let's talk about Garrett Nussmeier. Not his best day on Saturday night, but also made some plays, especially with his feet. I love the sound of the crowd when he runs. It's just a bunch of people who have been frustrated for a year and a half that are so happy when he tucks it and actually does run and get some yards. Brian Kelly talked about Garrett Nussmeier a couple times after the game. The first was just kind of on his overall play against South Carolina.
Yeah, I thought he was a lot more aggressive. I thought he had that kind of demeanor that you're looking for in your quarterback. We want to clean up some things, obviously, the mishandled snaps, and, we can't turn the ball over down there. But he's competing his tail off for us.
I don't disagree with that. I think Garrett Nussmeier is going to play hard. Is it perfect? No. Is he taking a big step up this year? No. I tried to fight back on the narrative all summer that just because Joe in his fifth year and his second year as a starter took a huge jump, and just because Jaden went from a fourth year to a fifth year player and took a huge jump, didn't mean that Garrett Nussmeier was just ticketed to win the Heisman Trophy. I think he gives you a chance to win more often than not. I think if you give him some complementary pieces around him, he can really function the offense well. Unfortunately, he just hasn't had much of a running game for 2 years. And he's been hurt some this year, and that's hurt him. And then his offensive line has had some issues this year, and that's hurt him. And he's made some bad decisions this year, and he made some bad decisions in the game. We'll talk about that in a second. But to go back to the scrambling, he had a long of his career of 21 yards, tucked it and ran. And Brian Kelly talked about his decisiveness in doing that a little bit.
Yeah, it did. I mean, obviously, running for a first down, being, I think – in a mindset that he was going to do whatever was necessary for us to continue to move the chain. So it was great to see that, and he knows that he's got to continue to do that.
I liked Will Campbell after the game on Sunday, Patriots Saints, talking about how Garrett Nussmeier is a dog and he's a leader and he wants so badly to bring a championship to LSU and I think you get that from Garrett Nussmeier. He got up in pain a couple times on Saturday. He got hit hard a couple of times. South Carolina's got some good pass rushers. Dylan Stewart on the edge is really, really difficult. And, you had a tough matchup there with Weston Davis trying to handle him, and sometimes he certainly didn't. A couple times he did. But Nussmeier was tough, played physically, and made some plays, but he also made some really bad decisions. And he can't throw that interception at the goal line. That cannot happen. You've got the ball down there in scoring position. You're in a chance to take control of that game, and you can't just breathe life into South Carolina with a just misread completely. That safety was right in the middle of the field. It wasn't coming out of nowhere. It wasn't a tipped ball or a great play by the defense. It was just a safety. It was right there that he didn't see, and he makes a throw that you just can't make. But Brian Kelly, after a chance to look at the film on Sunday, came to the podium today and talked about the decision-making from Garrett Nussmeier back on Saturday.
We're trying to balance this. He plays with a swagger, and he's better with a swagger, right? Don't know that he had that the previous weeks. Thought he was a little bit robotic. And we said, listen, you need to be Garrett Nussmeier. And he was. Unfortunately, some of that comes with some mistakes. I think that that's an aberration, the mistake that was in the red zone, and something that he would immediately say, I should have had my eyes on that safety, because that's my read. But I like the version of Garrett Nussmeier we saw. He was a lot more confident. He was a lot more active in the pocket. He had an opportunity to run a couple of times. That's the version we want. We want to clean up those, what I would call uncharacteristic mistakes.
And this is where the talk show host in me starts to really analyze. Because Brian Kelly is very, very demanding of his players. If you watch him on the sideline, he is lighting into people all the time. That doesn't make him unique in any way. It's just the way he's always coached. He's hard on his players. He demands greatness from them. And when he sees things he doesn't like on the field, he's not afraid to raise that tone of voice and get after somebody. And so when you have such a poor decision from such a veteran player, the fact that he would come to the microphone a couple days later and just have so much praise to heap on a fifth-year player who should know better than that is fascinating to me. Now, it may be a different tone behind closed doors. Maybe behind closed doors, he's saying, that's a ridiculous read, an awful throw, and you know better than that, and you have to be better than that. And then he comes into the media and is just changing the narrative a little bit and saying, yeah, we actually liked a lot of things we saw. We'll clean some of that stuff up, but he's maybe. It's probably an overanalyzation to me, but I just find it interesting that he's so demanding all the time. And if a true freshman makes that throw, well, yeah, you never made that read before, and it's too bad. You won the game, and you'll coach it. But a fifth-year senior making that mistake, to me, more often than not, is going to elicit a visceral reaction from a coach. And to have it, he was not even that mad after the game, and certainly on Monday, just kind of like, yeah, I think we'll get better. I certainly noticed that. I don't know what to make of it. But I certainly noticed the handling of that. Here's my take, and I wrote this in my column postgame. LSU did a little bit more in the running game on Saturday. They ran for 166 yards. They had 6 runs of over 15 yards. The defense played great. You had some really exciting things from Trey'Dez Green. Kyle Parker makes a great catch and run. Chris Hilton got open. Like, they did some good things. But ultimately, when you play the best teams on your schedule, when you play Texas A&M, when you play Bama, LSU is not going to have enough to win if Garrett Nussmeier doesn't play great. Like, they are not going to be able to get by against some of these teams if he completes 61% of his throws with 2 picks, which is what he did on Saturday. That number's got to be way closer to 70, and he can't throw picks, especially in the red zone. And that's not going to change. I think LSU can win some games with a mediocre run game. I think LSU can win some games if they don't force 5 interceptions against Florida. But LSU's going to struggle to win games if Nussmeier doesn't play great. And that's something that I'm pretty convicted in, and something I think is going to play out over the course of the next month. They need him. They need 18, their 5th-year senior, the team captain, the quarterback, to play better than that. And I don't think that's news to Garrett Nussmeier. I don't think that's news to Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly's realistic. You heard him talk. He said in the bye week, hey, we got to work on some things in the running game, but we're not going to be a dominant running team. We've got to be better and more elite in the passing game, which is where we've got our talent. And he's talking about Garrett Nussmeier there. Joe Sloan's got to be better. The wide receivers got to be better. The tight ends got to be better. The offensive line's got to pass block better, but Nussmeier has to be really good. That's the path for this team to win. It's the defense and the quarterback. That's it. And if you don't have one of those two, the defense has a bad day and gives up 36, you're going to lose. If the quarterback turns the ball over twice, once in the red zone, and is inaccurate, you're going to lose against the good teams. It's only cost you once, and 1 loss is okay. 2 losses is okay. But that's where it's got to stop. And for LSU to make sure that they achieve those things, the quarterback's got to play better than he did on Saturday. There are a lot of folks saying he looked healthier on Saturday. I'll agree with that tepidly. I didn't think he got the deep ball out there to Chris Hilton far enough. It did hit Chris Hilton right in the hands, and he should have caught it, but I did think he had to slow up a little bit for it and brought the defense back closer to the point of the catch. That ball's out 4 yards further. I think it's a touchdown. You just got to have better throws, better plays from your quarterback. It's possible, but it's got to happen starting Saturday, because I don't think LSU is going to hold Vanderbilt to 10 points. We'll see. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.